The Xbox 360. First released in 2005, this console was amazing. Now, while PlayStation fans and Nintendo fans were still awaiting their first truly next-gen console, Microsoft devoutes were taking the leap into the future of gaming, and this console had everything going for it. Now, first of all, the controller was really comfortable, obviously a step up from that mad controller they had on the first Xbox. Xbox Live, which was first introduced on the original Xbox, was now leaps ahead, connecting gamers all over the world. All that was left were the games. While we would soon get to enjoy many exclusive franchises on the Xbox, such as Gears of War, Halo, and Fable, there was one launch game for the Xbox 360 that showed the gaming world that Microsoft wasn't messing around. Perfect Dark Zero. With the original game being released on the N64 as like a technical follow-up to GoldenEye, as well as a Game Boy game that nobody really talks about, a true sequel to Perfect Dark was something that the gaming world sorely wanted. Now, originally slated for release on the GameCube of all things, Rare shed its Nintendo allegiance and moved Joanna Dark over to the hottest new console on the market, the Xbox 360. Immediately you could see the power that the Xbox brought to the table. Gone were the days of FMVs and shitty low-res cutscenes. I mean, look at this. It looks like something from James Bond. And that music. Clearly we're in for a hell of a time. Even Samsung wants to get in on the action. So we jump straight into the game and get into some inventory management, and honestly, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I'll just skip this from now on. Punch some crates, shoot some guys, hack some doors, fly a spy cam. This game is James Bond on crack. Speaking of James Bond, this game is full on with its gadgetry, albeit a wee bit convoluted in some places, like with the hacking tool or data thief. I wonder what version of Windows uses light up sectors as a security interface. Imagine trying to log into your PC with that thing. Others though are classic espionage instruments. Take this one for example. In this level, I have to identify enforcers. Who or what they're enforcing is anyone's guess, but identifying these guys from the shadows sounds like something a top level spy would be getting up to. We use these sonic binoculars, or audioscope, to listen into their conversation. Seems this guy's speaking out his ass. While it was considered a pretty big deal that Perfect Dark moved off the Nintendo and onto the Xbox, there are a few things that I do have to address. A few inconsistencies have crept into the series after it arrived on the Xbox. For one, Joanna Dark seems to have completely changed her accent. Here she is chatting to us in an American accent.
The US Army has a file on me?
I could have sworn she was British back on the N64.
What's the target location? How will I recognize him?
Now, this game is a prequel to the previous game, so maybe something happened after this to change her accent? Who knows? As well as that, some of the characters in the game contradict themselves, making it kinda hard to follow the story. So Jack asks us to stay out of harm's way at the beginning of the second mission.
Stay out of the club. Use your gun only as a last resort.
He is understandably trying to protect his daughter and keep her as far away from the action as possible. However, he then radios to tell her that he's taken heavy fire, and then in the same conversation, scolds her for saying she's on her way.
Dark Zero, I'm taking heavy fire.
You're right there.
Told you to keep out of harm's way, kid.
Why would he radio to tell her that he's under heavy fire if he didn't want her to do anything about it? How did he expect that conversation to go?
Dark Zero, I'm taking heavy fire.
Sucks to be you. Now, these things are pretty easy to overlook considering they're the only major negatives that I found about the game. However, there has been one thing that I've intentionally left out until now. The guns! This game has an absolute army's worth of weapons, including the classics from the first game. We have P9Ps, Psychosis guns, laptop guns, the classic RCP-90, sniper rifles, landmines, boomerangs. This game has it all. If you love crazy weapons in games, then this game will definitely scratch that itch. One problem I've always had with modern shooters is the name of the guns. Now, as someone who knows nothing about the world of real-life firearms, it means nothing to me when a gun is called the AOR-91. For me, it sounds way more badass when a gun's called the Super Dragon. Like, what sounds crazier to you? Firing off a DHL-28 or ripping through enemies with a super dragon? Now, all this talk of weapons leads us on to the main question. Which weapon is the strongest? Could it be the disc boomerang with its razor-sharp edges? The landmines with their ability to take you by surprise? Maybe it's the sniper rifle with its incredible range? No, the greatest weapon in this game is Joanna Dark. Joanna's unarmed combat is second to none. She must have knuckles made of grenades and be trained by Mike Tyson. Every enemy she punches dies in one hit. Don't have enough ammunition to take out that armoured enemy? Just punch him in the face. Too many enemies on screen to effectively manage? Just go on a punching spree. Another quirk about this game is the way in which the enemies die. Just like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark before it, the enemies have the unfortunate biological disadvantage of having all their vital organs located in their gun. You could just shoot these guys up and down, but as soon as they drop their gun, it's lights out.
I don't want to die!
With this being the latest and greatest console on the market at the time, it goes without saying that the graphics were simply stunning. Buildings looked amazing, jungles looked full, combat was fluid and beautiful, and check out this water. Even the very physics of the game world are bent to the will of the Xbox. I mean, literally, the water is bent. This is innovation at its finest. So let's dive into the story. As you've seen, we're working our way through missions all centered around the Datadyne Corporation and their evil army of clones. Maybe they're all related, like one big family of centuplets. The game starts with a routine mission to retrieve a scientist who's been kidnapped. Now, after we rescue him, he implants his research into Joanna's dad's head, and he proceeds to bite the dust. Datadyne wants this research and so kidnaps Joanna's dad in order to extract the data for their own purposes. This is where the story starts to take a weird turn. After escaping the facility, we're met with two cowboys who try to kill us using laptop guns. Who are these guys? Up until this point in the game, they're never mentioned. And after this point, they're never mentioned again. This game really keeps you on your toes. So Datadyne managed to get their hands on the research, and the main bad guy, Zhang Li, gets his troops to translate some hieroglyphics, including a nice reference to the aliens from the previous Perfect Dark game.
Or extraterrestrial? Don't say it. Don't say extraterrestrial, or alien, or xenobiological.
And they take control of the Graal. Whoa, I feel I have to interject here and set the record straight. I have no idea what's going on. After the part about the research getting implanted into Jack's head, the story just takes a complete left turn. Now, don't get me wrong, there's enough action in this game to keep any shooter fan interested, but anybody seeking a deep story is really gonna have to work hard to keep up with this one. So what is the Graal, and why does Zhang Li want it? Fuck if I know, but either way, Zhang Li uses the Graal to transform himself into a ripped, half-skinless demigod, and we take to the skies for the final battle. So his main attacks are to jump around the stage like a maniac and fire a single shot at you every once in a while. Every now and then he'll toss a column at you, but the distance makes these easily avoidable. Now, I'm not sure if this is a glitch or if I'm doing something wrong, but every time he jumps onto the centre platform to meet me one-on-one, he trips over himself, drops his gun and gives me a free shot. I'm not doing anything special. When he's jumping to the centre, I just strafe around him and he falls over. Either way, his ass is finished. So after defeating Zhang Li, he really quickly comes to terms with the fact that he's been beaten and then explodes.
And the statues of our gods become dust.
I guess that's how gods die. Everyone is injured and the bad guys are beaten. Badink! Yeah, I played it on easy. Roll credits. So, ultimately Perfect Dark was a pretty good game, albeit a wee bit dated by today's standards. Other shooters were available at the launch of the Xbox 360, such as Quake and Call of Duty. However, it felt like Perfect Dark had a bit more to prove considering its Nintendo-based history. A few elements of this game were a wee bit rough around the edges, such as the continuity problems in the story, but the action that the game provided was amazing and would become a staple of the Xbox 360 throughout its lifespan. All in all, this game is pretty easy to come by, and it's a pretty nice addition to anybody's collection. If you want to take a wee trip down memory lane and have a go at one of the first shooters on the Xbox 360, then this is the game for you.